More than one reason for its closing.
And the Toledo family is getting the gift of warmth and comfort. We'll hear from that family and the organization to help make this possible.
Welcome to WTOL 11 News at 11. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chase Bachman. Michael Sandlin has the night off. We'll get to your top stories and more in just a minute. But first, let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist John Birchfield. John, we had a foggy start to the day. Can we expect any more fog tomorrow?
Yeah, Chase, there could be some minor travel impacts into the Monday morning commute and out the door at the bus stop. With clear conditions and calm winds, that is a recipe for a bit of fog. Lows are only going to be around 50, so it's not going to be super cold tomorrow, but there could be some areas of reduced visibility. The latest data shows the best fog potential north and west of Toledo, areas like Hillsdale, Williams, Lenawee, and Fulton counties. And part of that fog could creep into the Toledo metro, so keep that in mind and give yourself a couple extra minutes. Generally speaking, areas south and east of the river are going to be clear and smooth sailing for the morning drive. By late morning, we are looking at clear conditions across the region, and it's going to be a really nice day. Sunshine and 70s with a mild October feel. Bus stop forecast in the morning, a little bit of patchy fog can't be ruled out. Heading into the afternoon, smooth sailing, 73, sunny and mild. Going to be a really beautiful October day. Light east winds are expected, so a couple degrees cooler near the lakeshore, but highs are going to be in the low to mid 70s. Now, if you're still in need of that rainfall, I am going to preview our next rainmaker. That's going to be coming up next weekend. I'll have a look ahead of the timing coming up in just a bit. Chase.
All right, John, thanks. We have an update on the police shooting in South Toledo earlier this week. New body and dash cam video shows the moments leading up to the shooting. We're learning the person shot was a 22-year-old named Zachary Reed from North Carolina. Reed reportedly came to Toledo after being kicked out of his home in North Carolina. Police say he asked a friend here in Toledo if he could stay with him. That friend told police that Reed brought a bag full of guns with him. The friend immediately wanted Reed gone after seeing the guns and asked police to come get him. When police got to the home, Reed drove off down Airport Highway before crashing near an old strip mall. Police officers told Reed to get out of the vehicle, but he refused, asking police to tell his family he loved them before stepping out of the vehicle and pulling a gun on the officers. All 10 responding officers shot multiple times, hitting Reed. Toledo Chief of Police Mike Trenley says they planned on trying non-lethal solutions, but Reed's actions required an immediate reaction.
Do we have a tactical approach to try to get somebody out of a vehicle? Yes, we do. At this point, we weren't to that. At that point, we're just trying to talk him out. Eventually, if he never comes out and he's still armed, yes, we have tactics to try to remove him from the vehicle, but vehicles are very tough to do.
All 10 officers were initially put on paid administrative leave, but have since returned to work. A local school community is grieving the loss of an 11-year-old boy who was hit by a car while riding his bike. Staff and students at Explorers Academy of Science and Technology came together to honor and remember Devontae Bailey. Police say he was riding his bike Monday night in West Toledo when he went on a Jackman Road from Marlowe Road and was hit by a 76-year-old driver. A few days after his death, friends and family released balloons in Bailey's memory. Bailey's teachers say they didn't have him in class for long, but he was a joy to be around.
Dealing with loss is very difficult. Trying to get children to understand loss, that their friend is not going to come back, has been traumatic for me as a teacher.
The school says it has brought in counselors to support students during this time. And after more than a century of service, the St. Michael the Archangel Parish in Toledo is set to close early next year. The closure was decided by multiple factors, including declining membership, low mass attendance, limited active ministries, and ongoing financial struggles. However, the parish will be merged with St. John the Baptist Parish in Point Place, which is being called an extinctive union, in a statement issued by Bishop Daniel Thomas of the Diocese of Toledo. St. Michael the Archangel Parish will hold its final Mass on Sunday, January 4th, with the merger officially taking effect on Tuesday, January 6th. The Oak Harbor nonprofit Sleep in Heavenly Peace is building beds and building hope. The nonprofit hosted a community build day earlier this week to assemble and deliver beds to Ottawa County kids in need. The nonprofit says more than 150,000 kids in the United States don't have a bed. That's why the organization and volunteers came together to make sure no kids have to sleep on the floor.
It's a very humbling experience, and we've been able to provide 220 beds to kids that attend school in Ottawa County. and never did we expect to get the results that we did, but we're very fortunate to be able to give back and have that opportunity.
Berlin says the 20 beds built this weekend will go into storage and will be donated in the near future. A Toledo family is getting the gift of warmth and comfort. Zimmerman Heating Company partnered with the Lennox Company's Feel the Love program to give back to a deserving Toledo family. Dominique O'Neill joins us in studio now. Dominique, how does this work?
Well, Chase, the company installed a brand new high-efficiency furnace and air conditioner completely free of charge for the family this weekend. The family says it means the world to them.
I'm just lost for words, you know.
That's Jacob Sabina, who's the recipient of that new furnace and air conditioner. He's a full-time father of two and a volunteer youth football coach, known in his community for his dedication and compassion.
I've done nothing but work my entire life. I've held a job since I was 12, and just it's grateful to finally get a break.
His mother nominated him for his service to others, making this surprise a moment of heartfelt gratitude.
Furnace was over 50 years old, so I mean, I knew eventually it was going to have to get replaced, but I knew I wouldn't be able to afford it. So it helps out gratefully that I don't have to worry. I can provide good shelter for my boys.
One of the owners of Zimmerman Heating says this is just their way of giving back to a community that has given them so much support over the years.
Zimmerman Heating likes to be able to contribute back to the community since we have been here as long as we have. We think it's an awesome opportunity to make contact with families in the Toledo area and that.
Jacob's mom, Melissa Sabina, says she is grateful for the donation for her son and the family.
Humbling gratefulness that I have is, I can't thank them enough. I can't. It's just, you know, times are hard. People struggle, and you don't seem to catch a break, but this right here is just everything.
It's really humbling to have people with kind hearts to do something like this for the community.
Zimmerman says the company Lennox donates the equipment as part of their Feel the Love program. For more information about the program, you can visit our website, WTOL.com. Reporting in studio, Dominique O'Neill, WTOL 11.
Well, it's going to be a mild and sunny start to the work week, but I've got my sights on our next weather maker. This is going to come in next weekend with some needed rainfall and a big change in the weather pattern. I'm going to give you a sneak peek at the hour-by-hour forecast coming up next. I hope you enjoyed this weekend sunshine. We've got a repeat performance tomorrow. It is going to be a beautiful October day, mild and dry, highs up in the mid-70s, about 10 degrees above average. Now, between now and then, there may be a little fog to contend with late tonight into Monday morning. It is going to be a little more patchy in nature than today, but with clear and calm conditions, that'll provide the ingredients for some patchy fog with lows near 50. Right now, visibility is clear. That fog is not expected to develop until about 4 or 5 a.m. at least. And let's look ahead towards the hour-by-hour forecast. Starting off your Monday morning, mainly areas north and west of town, like Hillsdale and Adrian, down into Fulton, Williams, Defiance, and Henry counties that have the best chance to see a little bit of fog. By late morning, conditions are expected to turn clear, and travel is going to be smooth for the afternoon. The bus stop forecast could feature a little bit of fog, so keep that in mind to the morning drive. And then as we fast forward into the afternoon, a beautiful day for those after-school sports practices. Sunny and mild conditions. Highs will be in the low to mid 70s. There is going to be a light east wind, so just a couple degrees cooler near the lakeshore. Dry and mild under those mostly sunny skies. Starting off the day, it's not going to be too chilly by mid-October standards. Only around 50 degrees, so you might not even need a jacket out at the bus stop. And those afternoon highs right around 73 in Toledo. It is going to be a little cooler near Port Clinton and Sandusky due to that light northeast wind off of the lake, but otherwise a very mild day with mid 70s possible west of town near Defiance County. Next couple of days feature an even warmer day Tuesday. Soak up that warmth because there are going to be some cooler autumn days ahead. A cold front comes in Tuesday night and into Wednesday, and that's going to drop us back to the low to mid 60s. In fact, by Thursday morning, there's the chance we see a little bit of frost. Some areas saw frost last week, but if you didn't, that could potentially be your first frost of the season. Now, the bigger change in the weather comes next weekend when rain returns. A stronger fall cold front is going to sweep in late Saturday night and then extend into Sunday. So it is possible that the tail end of the weekend does feature some wet weather. Hour-by-hour forecast starting off Saturday morning. We've got the timestamp at the top of the screen. We are looking at a dry start to the day. By Saturday evening, that is when some scattered showers are going to be developing. Saturday night into Sunday, the rain could be steady at times, and then throughout the day Sunday, periodic rain is going to be possible. And by Monday, I expect dry conditions to gradually return, although it is going to be turning considerably cooler with those temperatures down in the low 60s and some chillier fall days ahead. No worries of rainfall for the next several days. However, by late Saturday and then into Sunday, that is going to be that next weather disturbance that brings us some needed rainfall for the ongoing extreme drought. Rain chances as of now are only a 30% PM Saturday and a 40% Sunday. I think the best rain chances could very well happen Saturday night as you're asleep, but you'll notice that 10-degree drop in temperatures. That is a sign of that strong fall cold front. We drop even further to the low 60s with an overall cooler stretch of weather heading into the end of the 10-day forecast. Chase.
All right, John, thanks. There appears to be no end in sight to the standoff to fund the federal government, which is currently in its 11th day of being shut down. Shutdown has already caused nationwide flight delays, closed federal offices, and a lack of paychecks. Meanwhile, a growing number of federal workers are being terminated from their jobs, with more than 4,000 being sent termination notices just last week. On Capitol Hill, Democrats are continuing to push for health care subsidies and the reversal of recent Medicaid cuts. Vice President J.D. Vance explained why President Trump has not called on Republican lawmakers to hammer out a deal.
Of course, we want to lower insurance premiums, but you don't come into the Oval Office and say, unless you, the President of the United States, give us everything that I want, I'm going to shut down the government.
President Trump has prioritized pay for the military, with the Pentagon identifying about $8 billion of unused research funds that will be used to pay service members on Wednesday. U.S. senators are expected to vote on Tuesday on a resolution to open the government. This will be the 8th vote to try and reopen the government. Meanwhile, the House is in recess with no plan to return anytime soon. President Trump is heading to Israel and then Egypt for what he is describing as a very special event. The remaining Israeli hostages are expected to be released tomorrow while the president prepares to address the Israeli parliament. Taureen Small has the story.
President Trump is set to depart for Israel and Egypt as the ceasefire holds ahead of the release of Israeli hostages. On Sunday, a spokesperson for the Israeli government said remaining hostages are expected to be released early Monday as a group.
We are expecting all 20 of our living hostages to be released together at one time to the Red Cross.
But Hamas is struggling to meet the Monday deadline to return the remains of the deceased hostages.
We are looking forward anxiously to seeing our hostages back home tomorrow, the latest, and see all the hostages, including the hostages who are not alive anymore.
On Sunday, the president of Israel praised President Trump for his role in facilitating a peace agreement.
President Trump will be received by masses of Israelis, by the nation of Israel, in gratitude.
President Trump will address the Israeli parliament on Monday before traveling on to Egypt, where he's expected to meet with Egypt's president and leaders from more than 20 countries to discuss peace in Gaza and the Middle East.
This is a very special event. They had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before.
On Sunday, 8 trucks departed from Egypt for Gaza in a bid to address what humanitarian aid workers have called a famine. And thousands of Gaza residents who fled their homes to safer areas during the conflict returned to their homes, many of which have been reduced to rubble. Torian Small, CBS News, Washington.
All right, when we return, the Lions and Chiefs faced off tonight. We recap the game, plus we recap another awesome college football Saturday. That's coming up next in sports. Sports brought to you by Jim White Honda. Welcome back. It's NFL Sunday again, and tonight the Lions got the primetime slot taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. But unless you were hoping to see Taylor Swift and Caitlin Clark, this was not the game Lions fans were hoping for. The Lions had the first touchdown of the game with a cool trick play, running back David Montgomery throwing to Jared Goff, but it was taken off the board after refs say Goff was lined up illegally. Patrick Mahomes was in peak form. He threw for almost 250 yards and had 4 touchdown passes. And to add insult to injury, the game ended with a scuffle after the Lions' Brian Branch hit Juju Smith-Schuster. The Lions dropped their second game of the year. They are now 4-2 on the season. Meanwhile, Cleveland's football struggles continue as they lose to Pittsburgh by a final of 23-9. The The Browns offense could not get into the end zone this week, settling for field goals in the second, third, and fourth quarter. Dylan Gabriel was in his second career start, completed 29 of 51 passes, but was sacked 6 times. Cleveland's record drops to 1-5 this year. The team will be back home next week to host the Miami Dolphins. And shifting to college football, Saturday was one for the history books. We had the 90th meeting of Toledo and Bowling Green in the Battle of I-75. The Rockets went into the game as favorites and were proving why in the first half. Toledo scored the first 21 points in this game and looked like they were going to run away with it by halftime. Falcons ended up scoring with less than 30 seconds to go in the half, ended up scoring 28 straight. The Rockets offense never scored again, and Bowling Green won 28-23. The Falcons have won consecutive games in the rivalry for the first time since 2009. Toledo head coach Jason Candle and his team go back to the drawing board, while BG head coach Eddie George picks up his first conference win.
It was not pretty at all in the beginning, and you kind of think, like, man, are we in front of a sellout crowd, home crowd? Are we going to get boat raced here? But we settled down. We continued to believe. We stayed positive on the sidelines. And we had to overcome adversity.
You have enough humility to go watch the tape, fix the mistakes that are on there, and address them, and tell yourself the truth. And that's what we have to do, because there's another game next Saturday, and nobody's going to come save us and care about what just happened today.
Also in college football, the latest AP poll dropped today, and the Ohio State Buckeyes are still the top team in the nation. Ohio State is now 6-0 and picked up their latest win over the 17th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. Some thought this might be the Buckeyes' biggest test of the season after Texas, but ultimately OSU won this game by multiple scores. Meanwhile, for Michigan, it was a weekend to forget. The Wolverines traveled to Los Angeles to play USC and ended up losing 31-13. This is Michigan's second loss of the season after losing at Oklahoma earlier in the year. And with that, the Wolverines drop out of the AP Top 25 poll for the first time this season. Trojans, meanwhile, jump back into the poll as they're now ranked 20th. Michigan is back home next Saturday to host Washington. And check this out. A new episode of Chasing the Game is dropping soon. This week, I caught up with Northview head volleyball coach Chad Rutkowski. We talk about him, his coaching career, and check in on the Wildcats season. Check out this episode and all of our episodes on the WTOL 11 Plus app, which you can download for free on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can also watch and listen for free on YouTube and on Spotify. But for now, that's all for sports. We'll be right back. Well, it's that time of the year for graduation at Hooves in Swanton. The Hooves program was created to help veterans struggling with the trauma they've experienced from their time in the service. And this session focused specifically on female veterans. People graduating with the program say the unique equine therapy is a game changer.
Veterans do so much better when they're not locked in a room with 4 white walls being asked a ton of questions and asked about their childhood or their combat trauma. They love to be out in nature, they love to be moving, and they truly love solving their own problems.
Hooves' last program of the year, but they are always accepting donations. And the 48th annual Apple Butter Festival in Grand Rapids drew a huge crowd today for some fall fun. Since it started in 1977, the event has drawn over 30,000 visitors every year to enjoy historical reenactments, live music, crafts, and food, and of course, apple butter. Festival organizers say making the famous apple butter is a 3-day process. 1 day to boil 50 gallons of apple cider down to 10 gallons of apple butter, 1 day to peel 1,500 bushels of apples, and 1 day to cook the entire mixture. But they say the work is all a labor of love.
It's pretty cool, pretty cool. But what I really like is just that people enjoy being out to Grand Rapids because it's a lovely town. I like the fact that we can educate them in some of the historical things that go on. And so it's just a wonderful day for people to come out who could fight a day like this, right?
Those working the apple butter can cook it and jar it on the day of the festival so guests can see the process and purchase a jar for themselves. And with the weather getting cooler, you might be thinking about a certain stew. Today marks National Gumbo Day. The dish originated in southern Louisiana during the 18th century and is actually the official cuisine of the state. Usually has a meat or shellfish and the holy trinity of vegetables for Cajun food: celery, bell peppers, and onions. And this next story can maybe be a word of caution for John Birchfield or any other cat owners. Here's the story of Ray Ray the cat and how he went on his family's road trip without them even knowing.
You have to come over here.
The DiNardo family was all ready for their big trip to New Hampshire for a marathon, then on to New York City. Luggage packed, snacks loaded, kids buckled in. They said their goodbyes to their pets and locked up the house. Little did they know, one family member had a secret plan. Their cat Ray Ray had no intention of being left behind. As the van rolled out of Katanning, climbed hills, and sped down Interstate 80 at 70 miles per hour, Ray Ray was right there with them on the roof.
We had driven for 2 hours and needed to stop for gas. My husband gets out of the car, obviously, to pump the gas, and is like, oh, the cat is on the roof.
In that moment, panic turned to pure disbelief and then laughter. Against all odds, Ray Ray had survived 100 miles of wind, bumps, and highway traffic. He wasn't even fazed and clearly ready for an adventure.
And we're like, what do we do? We're already so far into the trip. We have a long way to go to get to New Hampshire. And my husband says, well, he's just gonna have to come with us.
We gotta go get Ray Ray all his things.
After a quick pit stop at the pet store, Ray Ray was now officially part of the trip. From running across the finish line with Dad at the New Hampshire Marathon to sightseeing in NYC from the comfort of his very own cat backpack, Ray Ray stole the show everywhere he went.
And he had such a good time and a great, adventure. So I actually did videos and pictures everywhere we went of him, and it was just like his whole adventure.
Those photos and videos of his wild road trip are now going viral, with people all over the country falling in love with the fearless feline. Now Ray Ray's story has inspired his mom to write a children's book series. The first book, The Cat Who Wouldn't Stray, celebrates his brave spirit and the family who followed his lead on the trip of a lifetime.
It's called Ray Ray's Catastic Adventure Tales. And then each series can be a different place that he went.
From stowaway to storybook star, Ray Ray's unexpected journey reminds us some of the best adventures in life are the ones we didn't plan for.
That's very sweet. John, if Michael were here, he would probably make some sort of clever reference about cat on a hot tin roof, and there's a joke in there about cat on a van roof or something.
I mean, that cat's fearless. It's just like, yeah, I got 9 lives. I can hitch a ride on this roof.
Absolutely. 80 miles is no slouch, and that cat was up on top of it for the entire way, and now he's a viral star. He's up there in Pudge's. He's like A-list cat celebrity.
Yeah, Pudge is up there, too. I think 1 tier above Ray Ray, maybe.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. I mean,
but honestly, being out and about in so many places, our cats don't like different settings. You know, they like being at home, they like comfort, they like routine. Even driving 5 minutes down the road to the vet clinic is a chore. So.
I know, which makes this story all the more remarkable.
Yeah, that's impressive. You know, being was it in Times Square?
Yeah, it was all over New York City, the marathon, everything. I mean, that cat was going places.
Yeah, that's a pretty cute cat, though.
Absolutely. How's the weather looking, by the way?
Well, if you're heading out to walk the dog tomorrow morning, maybe it's going to be a little cooler. There is a little bit of fog potentially, so keep that in mind for the Monday morning bus stop and commute, that there could be some areas of patchy fog. Otherwise, going to be some really nice days Monday and Tuesday.